That takes us to 1 Samuel. Chapters 1 through 7 focuses on Samuel. This book relates that when Israel leaders were unfaithful, God raised up new leaders for the people. A priest named Eli had faithless and immoral sons. Samuel was born to a woman named Hannah, who had long been childless, and Samuel became Eli's assistant. One night, God told Samuel that Eli's family would be condemned because of their corruption. Eli's sons were killed in battle. When Eli heard this, he himself fell dead. When Samuel grew older, he rallied Israel against the Philistines. Chapters 8 through 15 center on Saul. When Samuel's own sons proved faithless, the people wanted a king to rule. Samuel anointed Saul to be the first king over Israel. Saul led Israel to victory in battle. Samuel warned that the kingdom would be taken away from Saul because of Saul's disobedience. Chapters 16 through 31 describe David's relation with Saul after Saul proved to be unfaithful. The young David was anointed king by Saul. Therein we find the story of David and Goliath. David, in this aftermath, lived as an outlaw, but refused to kill Saul. In the end, Saul tried to consult the ghost of Samuel, and after being mortally wounded in battle, Saul fell on his own sword and died, which now brings us to 2 Samuel. Chapters 1 through 7 recounts David's rise to power after Saul's death. There is a civil war. The followers of David are based in the south, and the followers of Saul's son Ishbosheth are based in the north. David eventually prevails and establishes a new kingdom in Jerusalem, which is centrally located. David's reign began around the year 1000 BC. Chapters 8 through 12 tell how David expanded his territory. He enlarges his political boundaries. He commits an immoral act with Bathsheba, having her husband Uriah killed. Later, David repents, but the child that he fathers does die. In 2 Samuel chapters 13 through 20 is the story of Absalom, David's son, who has followers. In battle, Absalom gets caught in a tree and is slain by David's men. David weeps over the death of his son. Chapters 21 through 24 report various crises from David's reign. The last of these is a plague that breaks out after David takes a census. In response, David purchases a piece of land upon which to build an altar. This altar is where the temple will be built that was built by his son Solomon. 1 Kings chapters 1 through 1 through 11 tell of the united kingdom under King Solomon. After David's death, Solomon, his son, arrests his opponents and kills them. Solomon prays for wisdom to rule over God's people. He builds both a palace and a temple in Jerusalem. Solomon takes on foreign wives who bring foreign worship and the worship of foreign deities into Jerusalem. Chapters 12 through 16 recount the division of the kingdom of the north and the south. Solomon's son Rehoboam vows to rule harshly, and this results in a civil war. The 12 tribes break up, 10 tribes to the north, 2 tribes to the south. The northern tribe becomes Israel, and the southern tribe is known as Judah. Chapters 17 through 22 center on the prophet Elijah. Elijah works miracles and opposes the idolatrous worship of King Ahab and Queen Jezebel. He flees to Mount Sinai after calling down fire and defeating the priest of Baal. He eventually organizes a rebellion against Ahab and Jezebel. He also denounces them for arranging the death of Naboth and taking his vineyard.